Firstly, Gary, team news. How are you looking? You've been looking a lot healthier recently, haven't you?
Yes, nothing from the weekend, and so fully fit squad from that point of view. And the good news this week is that Jamie Devitt's back in the building.
Fantastic.
So we're really pleased with the progress he's made. The challenge now is just keeping the reins on him because obviously he'd only been with us a couple of weeks when he picked up the nasty injury, and he wants to make amends for missing the last, I think it's 3 months in the end now. So we just got to be sensible with him. But it's great to see him and great to see the progress that he's made already.
What stage is he at then, right now?
Back out on the grass. So he's back out on the grass. We'll get assessed over the next week or so with the physios. But if you ask him, if he was sat here now, he would tell you he's ready to join in. But I don't think he's joined in any full sessions at Blackpool yet.
So you are looking good then, aren't you? I know we've spoken at different points of this season, and
yes.
Sometimes it looked really dire, but at the moment, especially with the busy period on the way, it's looking pretty good. Yeah,
exactly. And it's what you know happens throughout the course of a season. Ideally, you don't want to be making too many changes, but injuries is part and parcel of a long season. So at this particular moment in time, touch wood, and with the festive period coming, it's good to have that many options for us.
Back-to-back clean sheets at the moment. How pleased have you been with that? It's a good basis, isn't it?
I'm out of everybody, I'm delighted for Richard, because I feel that there's been games this season where he's deserved a clean sheet, one by his performances, and two, the fact that in some games he's not had a shot to save yet. We've conceded from a penalty recently at Macclesfield, so I'm really delighted for him especially. But I thought last week, in terms of the desire that the lads in front of him showed to get some blocks on and prevent him from making a save, was terrific as well. And they're the behaviours that you want to see in your defenders week in, week out.
Is it even more rewarding from his perspective as well after last season? He is the one that literally has to pick the ball out of the back of the net, isn't he? I know it sounds a very basic thing, but
well, I think there's Richard and obviously Anton and Powdy that were here last year that played in the defence, and Calvin, although he missed quite a chunk of it. But I think that the way that they've come back, not just recently, but from day one of pre-season, and how they've applied themselves and how they've gone about it in their games and performances, I think that's not just obviously recognised by ourselves, but by the supporters. I can't remember many games last year they were singing Richard's name. Now, they're regularly singing his name. So that's a credit to him and the others that I've mentioned, that mentally they've really bounced back well.
How do you solve the issue up the other end that you've admitted a bit of frustration about not taking the opportunities? I think you've not scored more than one in your last 7, have you, combined, obviously, in terms of in every individual game? I
think it's just you've got to keep working hard at it. I think we certainly had the opportunities. We had the opportunities again on Saturday. I think they've been fewer on Saturday than against Macclesfield than in previous games. But I said to you after the Newport game that was the most comfortable 1-0 I've been in, and we should have had more. And it's just keep working on them, keep getting in those positions. And I wasn't a striker, but you listen to better strikers, and the concern comes when the chances don't arrive. So at this moment in time, we're still creating chances, but not as many as we would have liked. But I think this week in particular, how they've been this morning, they want to make that right.
And is there a feeling that it could just click at some stage? Do you
definitely
get that feeling?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And if it drops once like that, then that could really start something.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I believe in that massively.
I wanted to talk to you a bit about Connor Wood as well. We've just spoken to him. Really good talker for a young lad. We were really impressed by him. We thought he was quite good, but I know he said that that's something that you want to work on the field, don't you? You want him to improve that, but he feels he is improving. He says it's a skill that he's trying to get better at.
It's great to hear that and refreshing from him. I think a lot of it, like we've mentioned many a time, it's a reflection on society now. I think a couple of them live in the same block and text each other rather than them going round and knocking on each other's door. And then they'll play whatever it is. What do they play, Lou? What's the game? Xbox or whatever it is.
Fortnite, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And one to play it upstairs and one's playing it downstairs, and the art of conversation. But yeah, it then has become a skill, which back in our day, and I sound old, it wasn't a skill. Everybody was at it, talking and organising, but it's something that we spoke to him about, and he's right, he's making progress in it. But not just in that, I think, again, we were talking about Richard and a couple of the other defenders, the way that he's come back this season and his performances this season have been a credit to him. And, I think not just going forward, but his defensive side of the game's improved as well. And
he had great pleasure as well in the fact that his crossing percentages are the best in the country in terms of how accurate his.
Is it still?
He said there was an updated stat a couple of weeks ago, and he was still top above Azpilicueta, which is not a bad accolade, is it?
Well, I hear that one or two of them giving him a bit of stick about Azpilicueta, so I presume that's what that was about. But no, it's a big part of his game. He crosses a hell of a good ball. And we've worked on getting him in those areas. I think last Saturday was probably his quietest in that sense. But I think again, it's the fact that he's proud of that record as well. It speaks volumes for him as well. And we're encouraging him again to get up the pitch even further.
Can I ask you about the City for All campaign as well? That's just been announced. Yes. Frozen season ticket prices by the club. How big a factor has that fan base been since you came in? Has it at all surprised you? You came in March, didn't you? Has it at all surprised you how the fans have bought into it and how the club has re-engaged, I suppose you could say, with the fans?
I'm absolutely delighted that they re-engaged with the fans, because when I arrived, I was obviously made aware of the fact that there was this them and us. And I've said all along that for any football club to be successful, it's not just about one certain department, it's a lot of departments pulling together, and obviously the supporters play a massive part in that. I think it's a wonderful campaign that they've done and they've put together, the amount of work that's gone into it. I think it's a fantastic gesture from Stefan and the work that's gone in with it with Julian and everybody else. And I think it's a fantastic idea to do it before Christmas, where you could buy a Christmas present. It makes it easier for the ones that are lacking in, creativity for ideas for Christmas presents, and I include myself in that, as I struggled around Manchester yesterday. But I think it's just a brilliant gesture. Does it surprise me? I said before, I was made aware of the fantastic support when I brought Blackpool on the opening day of the season a couple of years back, but I have to say that the passion and the support that they have for the club has gone on another level since I've been manager, and the support that they've given us. I think you only have to look this season at our home record to see the impact that they've made and how they've helped us. And it's a long season, and I've said at the beginning that there'll be times where we need their help. And there'll be times when obviously we've got to get them going with what we do on the pitch, and I'm delighted that so far that the relationship has just gotten stronger and stronger, especially at home. What
does Christmas look like in the Gary Bowyer household?
Football, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not afraid actually. It's a great time of year for us. I knew no different. I grew up obviously with my dad playing. And I really love this time of year because of the games coming so quick and fast, and even when we get home it'll be right, get Sky on and see what game's going in, which doesn't sound like a great Christmas for my wife and everybody else, but there we go.
What about Christmas Day? What are your plans on Christmas Day with the players and the squad?
The plans for the players are we train tomorrow. We play obviously Saturday. We're going to give them Sunday off, and then we'll be in training Monday and Tuesday. Giving them the Christmas Day off, and then we will be going to Carlisle.
So how important is it, do you feel, that they have Christmas Day off to spend with the families? Is that something that you think that should be valued at that time?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, different people have their own opinions on it. I think that the amount of work that we do on a Friday, we can trust them to go out and do that as themselves. But I think you get a hell of a lot back from the players when they're actually around their loved ones and celebrating Christmas Day like everybody else.
And some of them are away from home, aren't they, as well? Again, Connor Wood saying he's spending it with George Sykes-Kenworthy's family this year, so he doesn't know what to expect.
I don't know, that's a dangerous one.
But not easy, is it, to be away from family at this time of year for footballers who aren't from this patch?
No, it's not. Of course not. I think, I think there are a hell of a lot of sacrifices footballers have to make, and Christmas Day being one. For, like you say, when people live away from here, it's. I think it's the human side again, because the last week or so, myself and the staff have been going around the players making sure that no one is left on their own up here, and if there is somebody on their own, that we find an alternative for them, that we to get someone, like you say, like for George and his family to take Connor Wood in on Christmas Day is brilliant, and that just shows you the spirit amongst the group, and it's an important time of the year for many reasons, and I think it's sometimes forgotten that footballers are human beings.
Salford, first of 4 games in 11 days then. What are you making to them as the first opponents of this run?
Well, they've got a very experienced management duo, and I've come across them, several times, and I think the job that Graham was doing at Scunthorpe, sat in the playoffs, got sacked, and then, unfortunately the club took a turn. What would have happened to Scunthorpe if they'd left Graham in charge and just saw that spell that they were having? We can't tell, but he's an experienced manager who has got promotion on his CV, and then he took the challenge, obviously going out of the league to manage Salford, but it was no surprise that he got them up and back into the league. I think you only have to look at the players that they've got in the squad. They've recruited well in the summer. Obviously, it's a club with such a following because of their owners, and I think that he's done a fabulous job there.
And on the pitch, they're not in the best run of form in the league. They've had a few cup games which might have been a bit of a distraction.
Yeah, I think it's similar to ourselves in terms of the cup games came in at probably the time when you were getting some momentum in the league, but. Like I say, you only have to look at the players that they've recruited, and the quality that they've got, and obviously the financial backing that they've received, or will receive as well, if I would imagine further in January. So there is no easy game in this league, like we always say, and we've got to make sure that we go about it how we have been doing at home.
Good stuff, thank you.
As you said, you bring up with football being the central thing about Christmas. And from what you said, I presume you're not one of those that's in favour of doing away with the Christmas period.
No, you mean a winter break?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's, like I say, it's great for everybody involved. We've not really had that many times where you go into games as a family in football, in terms of when I'm being on the management side, but my memory as a kid, couldn't wait to go to the football on the Boxing Day, my New Forest kit or New Forest scarf or whatever it was, and I imagine that's what it's still like, I think obviously with the amount of football that's on TV now, there'll be a game, 2 a day or something like that, so from our point of view it's great.
And from a manager's point of view, how do you cope with so many games in such quick succession in terms of preparing for each game? Yeah,
it's obviously it takes some planning. We're finalising 1 or 2 details this afternoon as well, to make it to try and get as much done now, so that we can operate smoothly and quickly throughout the quick turnaround that it is. Going back to earlier, the fact that we've got so many players at this moment that's fit and available does give us great options.
Cheers.
So, about Christmas, Gary, I mean, obviously last year Were you in Australia?
Yeah,
or something?
beautiful.
That must have been a bit weird, though, wasn't it?
No, it was fantastic. It didn't feel well. It felt weird when the missus mentioned it last night. I thought I was getting told off, but it was different. I wanted to do something different for that reason that we just spoke about. It was a hell of a long time being involved in football and being around it at Christmas time and being, either watching, like we say, my dad playing or playing myself or coaching and being around it as the youth team player, making sure all the scholars were in to help the first team and make sure all the kit was in to then progressing through the ranks and being manager. So last year it was, bit of a scramble on the, I think we booked it on the 21st and flew the booked it on the 19th and flew the 21st, landed the 23rd. So it was brilliant.
In a way, it probably almost sort of refreshed you.
Yeah, definitely. We wanted to, or I in particular wanted to do something I'd never done before and possibly might never do again. And to see them sort of like water skiing with Santa's hats on the beach on Christmas Day was something completely different. I don't think we'll see it this year over here. No.
And as you say, giving the players Christmas Day off, I mean,
yes.
Presumably when you were a player, you must have gone and trained on Christmas
Yeah,
Day.
we did.
Was it a mental thing where you had to sort of get over by the fact that you're leaving?
I was different in the sense of I loved it. I really enjoyed going in Christmas morning. I loved the dressing room, and I loved being in and around it. But I'd grown up with it, so I knew what it was about a little bit. I think it's changed over time. And you have to take into consideration, like you say, geographically where people are in the country, families. But I think you do generally get more back off the players with that little bit of understanding that you show towards them.
Particularly at such a hectic spell when you really need them firing for the next.
Yeah, exactly.
That
week Yeah, and it's they don't get any grief then at home, do they?
And obviously for 4 games in 11 days, I mean, you see Premier League managers sort of chipping away at times about fixture lists and that. I mean, is it something that you just got to put up with and
just get on with it? Yeah. That's exactly it. To the point, I didn't know it was 4 in 11. I just knew we had 4 games. I didn't know it was 11 days. I hadn't counted them up because you can't do anything about it. We just get on with it, and we're just really looking forward to it.